A robotic cat leads Fran out of the Oswald asylum. Your conscious and subconscious minds start to merge when you leave Oswald. Sometimes when you take your medicine, you don't see weird things anymore, and when you don't take your medicine, sometimes you are seeing weird things. The first weird thing you see are the Luciferns. They're heads with their hair tangled and tied together in a tree, and they're supposed to represent curiosity. They have a key stuck in their hair and tell you can have it if you get back their comb that was stolen from a rat. If they have their comb, they can brush their hair and leave the tree. When you go to look for the comb is the first time you notice your conscious and subconscious mind starting to merge. Before this, every time you've seen something weird, you've been under the influence of your medicine. But now you're seeing a giant ant with a pet roly-poly while you're completely sober. He tells you that his name is Antonio and that he believes that his pet roly-poly has eaten Mr. Midnight. Fran decides to take out the roly-poly so that she can save Mr. Midnight. She goes looking for an axe in Antonio's house and finds this Pinecone family, along with the silly Pinecone family and Antonio. This time, when Fran takes her medicine, she gets a much more clear view of the real world rather than her subconscious view of the world. This time, she sees a gigantic anthill and a skeleton covered in exterminator clothes. Fran finds an axe and goes to take out the roly-poly. When she takes it out, though, Mr. Midnight isn't inside. It's the rat that took the comb from the Luciferns. The rat ends up being really nice and gives you the comb and asks you if you can comb his hair first. The Luciferns told you he was narcissistic and mean, not because they're liars, but because that's how they see him through their eyes. Before that, he tells you that he saw your cat, and he saw somebody take it and disappear into the ground. You give the comb back to the Luciferns, and then go to find out what the rat meant that somebody took Mr. Midnight and disappeared into the ground. You can only see Antonio, the Pinecone family, and the rat while you're not on your medicine. If you take your medicine, you see a skeleton of a rat and a well that you can only see while you're on your medicine. The key that you get from the Luciferns unlocks the well, and when Fran goes into it, it starts Chapter 2, Part 2, where she's introduced to two very main reoccurring characters, Clara and Maya. Clara and Maya kidnap you, and you wake up in the Alice in Wonderland chapter of the game. Fran isn't on her medicine when she's in the house, but when she takes her medicine, she's alone in a well with bodies in it. This is supposed to be where the Oswald Asylum throws the experiments that don't make it, and Clara and Maya are supposed to be the souls of two experiments that didn't make it and are now in the well. In the real world, Fran has just fallen into this well, but her brain is processing it through this Alice in Wonderland type adventure where she has talked to Claire and Maya, they're taunting her, they're older than her, and she has to break out of their house to find Mr. Midnight, who they have kidnapped. Fran's medicine is working backwards now, though. When she takes the medicine, she is completely in the real world, in the well, with the bodies, but when she's off the medicine, she's in this house, able to explore everything, able to talk to Mr. Midnight. And Fran's perspective is supposed to be blocking out the horrors of the world, and her medicine is supposed to stop her from being able to do that and force her to see the world for how it is. The problem is that it makes her see such a brutally honest version of the world at such a bad time in her life that it forces her further back into her delusions. When you explore the house a bit, you find Mr. Midnight. He's in a cage, but he's happy to see you. He can speak English, which is weird, but Fran doesn't pay attention to that. She's just focused on getting him out. After you meet him, you finally meet Clara and Maya and get to talk to them. They're Siamese twins that have been sewn together. They bully you the entire time they see you, tell you they're older than you, so you have to do what they say, and that they're going to hurt Mr. Midnight if you don't. They want you to perform a spell that will bring you back to life, but you, Mr. Midnight, and a frog are able to trick them. Now that Clara and Maya are gone, you're able to get into their dresser. You get the key to unlock Mr. Midnight's cage, and you're also able to find a note. The note says that they blame somebody named Itward for what happened to them, and that they're going to get revenge on him. You're able to meet the frog with the help of the skeleton. He still isn't talking to you yet, but he's showing that he's here to help. You trick Clara and Maya by doing a different spell than they wanted to, and then you're able to free Mr. Midnight. Now you and Mr. Midnight need to find a way out of the house. The frog said he'll help you if you can find a way he can leave. You're able to inflate the frog and escape out of the house. In the real world, it's very clear that Fran has just crawled out of the well and gone over a creek. But in her mind, she's gone on this magical adventure with this frog, she's found her cat, and she's gone across the ocean. You and Mr. Midnight continue into the forest until the monster stops you again. He stops you on the middle of this log and breaks it so you fall down. Chapter 2, Part 2 ends with Fran having another dream sequence. This time, her Aunt Grace is telling her, "Don't be afraid, Fran. You always fall and you always get back up."